For myself, most of the time, I pretty much work 7 days a week, 12 hours, 13 hours a day. Between like paper seasons and actual television seasons, between all 3 television shows that we've done related to Pawn Stars.
For years, millions watched Pawn Stars, believing Chumlee was simply the goofy sidekick cracking jokes behind the counter. But away from the cameras, something surprising was happening. While fans laughed at his wild personality and unforgettable mistakes, Chumlee was quietly building a fortune that few people saw coming. From smart business moves and secret investments to massive TV earnings and unexpected success outside the pawn shop, his rise became one of reality television's biggest hidden stories. So, how did the most underestimated star end up becoming the richest of them all? The hidden empire behind the laughter. When millions of people tuned in to watch Pawn Stars, most of them saw Chumlee as the shop's comic relief, the easygoing employee who always seemed to end up in awkward situations, getting laughed at by customers and constantly corrected by the others. His funny personality, playful behavior, and careless mistakes made him appear as if he were simply lucky to be part of the show. To many viewers, he looked more like entertainment than someone who could ever become a serious businessman. But behind the cameras, a very different story was quietly unfolding. While the world focused on the jokes, Chumlee paid close attention to the opportunities around him. The fame that came from television was not something he wasted. Instead of spending recklessly or relying solely on the show's success, he gradually began turning his popularity into real business opportunities. Over time, he started building multiple income streams, making smart financial decisions, and learning how to transform temporary television fame into long-term wealth. The same man whom many people underestimated was secretly creating a financial empire that few saw coming. What makes Chumlee's rise even more surprising is where his journey began. He was not born into money, fame, or powerful family connections. There were no luxury homes, no business mentors, and no special shortcuts guiding his path. Long before the cameras of Pawn Stars ever found him, he was just a regular worker, trying to get by in the tough and fast-paced world of Las Vegas. Life around the pawn shop was demanding and unpredictable, where every day brought pressure, competition, and no promise of success for anyone involved. Yet somehow, the man people mocked the most turned out to be far more intelligent and business-minded than many had imagined. Beneath the goofy image was someone carefully observing, learning, and planning for the future. Little by little, Chumlee proved that appearances can be deceiving. The funny sidekick people laughed at was quietly becoming one of the most successful and unexpected stars connected to the entire Pawn Stars empire. Many viewers of Pawn Stars mainly recognize Chumlee for his funny personality and the avoidable mistakes he often makes on screen. But was he intentional about how he presented himself, or did he simply turn his natural behavior into his own unique selling point? And to what extent did he actually use his humor to build his public image? Let's find out. How being the funny one made him millions. One of the smartest things Chumlee ever did happened so quietly that most people never even noticed it at first. While many around him were focused mainly on buying and selling valuable items inside the pawn shop, Chumlee saw something completely different. He understood that the real power of Pawn Stars was not just the antiques, rare collectibles, or expensive deals. It was the personalities. Viewers did not only tune in to see old items being sold, they came back because they felt connected to the people on the screen. And Chumlee understood that better than almost anyone else. His playful humor, unexpected behavior, and frequent small mistakes, along with his natural friendship with Corey Harrison, made Chumlee stand out in a way that viewers could never ignore. Even when people laughed at him on Pawn Stars, he still stayed in their minds long after the episode ended. With every appearance, his charm grew stronger, and audiences began to feel connected to him as more than just a pawn shop worker. Over time, he slowly transformed from a background figure into one of the most recognizable and talked-about faces in reality television. Before long, that popularity started turning into serious money. Fans everywhere wanted a piece of the fun they saw on television. People began buying t-shirts, novelty products, autographs, collectibles, and anything connected to Chumlee's image. Instead of ignoring the opportunity, he moved quickly and launched his own merchandise business. What began as a simple side hustle exploded into a massive success, almost overnight. Demand became so overwhelming that Rick Harrison eventually stepped in and purchased part of the company to help manage the growing business. But Chumlee did not stop there. Unlike many reality stars who spend their earnings carelessly, he kept searching for new ways to grow his wealth. One of his most brilliant decisions was opening a candy store directly across from the famous gold and silver pawn shop. It was a simple idea, but incredibly smart. Every single day, thousands of tourists visit the area because of the show, and Chumlee found a way to turn those television fans into loyal paying customers most automatically. After realizing that people enjoyed his funny personality, he quickly took advantage of the opportunity to build and market his personal brand. But did the success of his business make him leave the Pawn Stars? Or did he instead expand his personal ventures while remaining one of the key faces of the show that made him famous? Let's uncover the inspiring details. From comic relief to quiet investor. Many viewers of Pawn Stars often saw Chumlee as nothing more than comic relief. The funny, careless guy who joked around, made mistakes, and kept the pawn shop atmosphere light. But away from the cameras, a very different side of him was quietly at work. He was not simply depending on TV fame. Instead, he was always thinking ahead, looking for new business opportunities, smarter ways to earn money, and steady steps to secure his financial future for years to come. While people laughed at his on-screen personality, Chumlee was building a serious business mindset behind the scenes. He began investing in several different areas, refusing to depend on just one source of income. He put money into clothing lines, collectibles, paid public appearances, gaming-related projects, photography work, and even real estate. Each move added another layer to his growing financial life. Over time, his earnings from these different ventures started to work together, forming multiple streams of income while he still continued to earn from the show itself. One of his smartest decisions came from property investment. In 2019, Chumlee sold his large Las Vegas home for over $1 million, making a strong profit from the sale. The house itself was a clear sign of how far he had come. It featured a spacious backyard, a swimming pool, a guest house, and wide open rooms that showed a level of comfort many people never expected him to reach. It was more than just a home. It was proof of his quiet financial growth. But his success was not limited to property. Chumlee also had a deep passion for collectibles, and he turned that passion into something valuable. He built an impressive personal collection of Pokémon cards, sports cards, and gaming memorabilia, understanding early on that these items would grow in value over time. Long before the market exploded, he already saw the potential others ignored. Even his involvement in a retro Nintendo-style gaming project showed his ability to connect nostalgia with profit. Slowly but surely, the man many once underestimated was no longer just a TV personality. He was becoming a smart investor with a surprisingly wide and growing financial portfolio. Chumlee has been exploring every business opportunity he can, and his attention to detail has helped him improve and grow in surprising ways. But could his background have shaped that strong business instinct? Or did he develop a mindset driven by ambition and the desire to succeed against expectations? And what kind of mentality does he truly have? Let's find out. the quiet mind behind the laughter. Chumlee was born on the 8th of September 1982, which makes him about 43 years old today. His zodiac sign is Virgo, a sign often associated with people who pay close attention to detail and think carefully before acting. Many astrology followers describe Virgos as practical, observant, and quietly hardworking individuals who prefer structure and routine over chaos. In everyday life, Virgos are often seen as people who may not rush to be in the spotlight. Instead, they tend to focus on doing things the right way, even if it takes more time. They are known for noticing small mistakes others might miss and trying to correct them before problems grow. Because of this, they are often trusted in work environments that require patience and consistency. Another common Virgo trait is a strong sense of responsibility. People with this sign are often careful with their decisions, especially when it comes to money, work, and long-term goals. They may not always appear loud or dramatic, but they often think deeply about the future and how today's choices will affect tomorrow. In Chumlee's case, fans of Pawn Stars may have first seen him as the funny, relaxed personality on screen, but behind that image, many believe there was a more focused side to him as well. Over time, he showed signs of persistence, learning from experience, and slowly building stability in both his personal life and business efforts. Whether or not astrology is taken seriously, the Virgo description of quiet effort and steady growth seems to reflect the way his journey unfolded, from an underestimated TV figure to someone who gradually built real success behind the scenes. Regardless of whether astrology is believed or not, many people enjoy using zodiac signs to understand personality patterns simply. In Chumlee's story, the idea of a Virgo, someone who quietly observes, learns from mistakes, and improves over time, is often connected by fans to how he evolved in the public eye. From a television personality known for humor to someone who grew into business awareness and personal discipline, his journey is seen by many as a reminder that people are often more complex than their first impression, and growth can happen quietly over time. It often takes years before true character fully shows itself. Beyond Chumlee's background playing a vital role in shaping his business-oriented mindset, how does he actually manage his wealth? Does he live an extravagant lifestyle that slows down his growth? Or are his spending habits part of a smarter financial strategy? Now, let's explore how Chumlee transformed fame and quietly outsmarted expectations beyond Pawn Stars. From underdog to quiet millionaire. As his money and success continued to grow, Chumlee's life slowly changed in ways many fans never expected when they first met him on Pawn Stars. The same man who once played the funny, careless shop employee was now living a life filled with comfort, luxury, and financial freedom. He bought high-end cars, both symbols of how far he had come from his early days working in a pawn shop in Las Vegas. His homes, investments, and lifestyle all reflected a level of success that many people never associated with him in the beginning. However, what made Chumlee's story even more interesting was that he did not fade away like many reality TV personalities often do. After their moment in the spotlight, some stars struggled to stay relevant, but Chumlee kept finding new ways to remain in the public eye. He appeared on other television programs, explored DJing, and showed up at entertainment events where fans could still recognize him beyond the pawn shop setting. Slowly, he began building an identity that went beyond just being the funny guy on television. Even after all the ups and downs, Chumlee's businesses kept moving forward. His candy store grew from a simple shop into a busy tourist hotspot, attracting fans who wanted to feel close to the world of Pawn Stars in real life. Visitors didn't just come to watch, they came to spend, explore, and connect with his brand. This success showed that his influence went far beyond television and still carried real power in the real world. What truly makes his rise so surprising is how quietly it all happened. Chumlee never tried to present himself as the smartest businessman or the leader of the group. He never needed to dominate conversations or prove anything loudly. Instead, he stayed in the background while many people underestimated him. But behind that relaxed image, he was carefully building wealth, making smart decisions, and creating a stable financial future. In the end, the joke people thought they understood turned out to be one of the most unexpected success stories in reality television. An extravagant lifestyle didn't hinder Chumlee's business growth. Instead, he seemed to balance both fame and spending in a way that still supported his success. But were there challenges that ever threatened his businesses behind the scenes? And how did he navigate difficult periods without losing focus? Let's delve into the intriguing details. The scandal that nearly destroyed everything. Just when it seemed like Chumlee's success story was only moving upward, his life took a very dark and difficult turn. At the height of his fame from Pawn Stars, everything suddenly changed in 2016 when police carried out a raid on his Las Vegas home. What they found there shocked the public. Substances, firearms, and other items linked to a wider investigation involving serious misconduct allegations. In a very short time, the image of the fun, easygoing TV personality was replaced with headlines full of controversy and suspicion. The news spread quickly, and the reaction was intense. Many fans who had once laughed at his jokes on television were now confused and disappointed. Media outlets heavily covered the story, focusing on every detail of the raid, the weapons found, and the ongoing investigation. Because of this, both Chumlee and the popular show he was part of came under a strong wave of public criticism and pressure. Even though misconduct charges were never officially filed against him, the situation was still serious. Chumlee eventually accepted a plea deal connected to the weapons charges, which added even more attention to the case. For someone living in the public eye, moments like this can easily destroy everything built over years: reputation, career, and business opportunities. Many celebrities never recover after facing such scandals. But Chumlee's story did not end there. Instead of disappearing completely, he slowly began to rebuild his life step by step. He stayed connected to his business ventures, kept working behind the scenes, and continued to earn from the financial foundations he had already built before the scandal. Over time, he also maintained a presence on television, even if the spotlight was not as bright as before. What makes this chapter of his life so striking is not just the controversy itself, but the way he managed to survive it. While his public image was deeply affected, Chumlee did not completely vanish from the world he had built. Instead, he worked quietly to stabilize his life, protect his income sources, and slowly piece his reputation back together in the years that followed. Challenges threatened the growth and stability of Chumlee's business, yet he managed to navigate through them. But what steps did he take to regain his balance and rebuild stability? And how did he confront personal and internal struggles that also tested him along the way? Now, let's dive into how Chumlee reinvented himself and protected his fortune. From underestimated comic relief to quiet survivor. After many difficult years filled with public pressure, personal struggles, and legal issues, Chumlee slowly reached a point where he knew he had to change direction in his life. The fame he gained from Pawn Stars had brought him money and attention, but it also brought stress, criticism, and constant public judgment. Instead of letting everything fall apart, he chose to step back and focus on something more important: stability, health, and long-term success. One of the biggest changes in his life came through his health. For years, Chumlee struggled with obesity, which affected both his confidence and daily life. Eventually, he made the serious decision to undergo weight loss surgery. That moment marked the beginning of a major transformation. Over time, he lost a significant amount of weight and began living a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. This change was not just physical. It also helped him feel more in control of his future and decisions. At the same time, he became more serious about his money and business life. Instead of living only in the excitement of fame, Chumlee started paying closer attention to his investments, savings, and long-term financial plans. He focused on protecting the wealth he had already built and making sure it continued to grow even when the spotlight was not as bright as before. His earlier business moves, including merchandise, collectibles, and property investments, became even more important as steady sources of income. Today, Chumlee's story goes far beyond the funny, easygoing guy fans first met on television. He is no longer just a side character on Pawn Stars, but a man who quietly grew into a businessman, investor, collector, and entrepreneur. Behind the jokes and camera moments, he built real income streams, made smart financial moves, and turned short-lived fame into lasting success. His journey proves that what people see on screen is only a small part of a much deeper and more complex story happening behind the scenes. And perhaps the most surprising part of Chumlee's entire journey is this. The man many people once laughed at or dismissed as just the comic relief of the group turned out to be far more complex than he first appeared. While fans focused on his jokes and laid-back attitude on Pawn Stars, he was quietly learning, adapting, and making smart choices behind the scenes. Over time, it became clear that beneath the humor, Chumlee may have been one of the most quietly strategic and unexpectedly sharp minds in the entire story. So, what do you think about how Chumlee built his wealth? Which of his approaches do you appreciate the most? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.